Syria's tragedy, a decade of devastation. The Syrian civil war has left an indelible mark on the nation, transforming once thriving cities into ghost towns and displacing millions of people from their homes. The Syrian civil war stands as a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict. Families have been torn apart and communities have been shattered, leaving behind a trail of sorrow and loss that spans the entire country. For over 10 years, the country has been ravaged by violence, leaving an indelible mark on its people and its future. The relentless bombings and battles have reduced historic landmarks to rubble and turned bustling marketplaces into desolate wastelands. The echoes of war resonate far beyond Syria's borders, serving as a grim testament to the devastating consequences of political instability and international divisions. Refugee camps have sprung up in neighboring countries, and the global community has been called to action. This conflict, which erupted in 2011, has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives and displaced millions more. The human toll is staggering, with countless stories of loss, resilience, and survival emerging from the ashes of war. The once vibrant tapestry of Syrian society has been torn apart, leaving behind a landscape scarred by destruction and despair. Neighborhoods that once buzzed with life now lie in ruins, and the social fabric of the nation has been irreparably damaged. The international community, while not directly engaged in the fighting, has been deeply affected by the conflict's ripple effects. Humanitarian organizations have mobilized to provide aid, and nations around the world have grappled with the influx of refugees seeking safety and a new beginning. The Syrian crisis serves as a stark warning about the fragility of peace and the need for international cooperation in addressing complex global challenges. Diplomatic efforts have been ongoing, but the path to peace remains fraught with obstacles and setbacks. As we delve into the intricacies of this conflict, it is essential to remember the human faces behind the headlines, the countless individuals whose lives have been irrevocably altered by the ravages of war. Their stories of hardship, resilience, and hope are a testament to the enduring human spirit. The Syrian conflict is a sobering reminder that the pursuit of peace requires unwavering commitment, diplomacy, and a shared sense of responsibility. It is a call to action for the global community to come together and work towards a future where such tragedies are averted. The international community must learn from the mistakes of the past and work tirelessly to prevent similar tragedies from unfolding in the future. Only through unity, understanding, and proactive measures can we hope to build a world where peace prevails over conflict. The seeds of discord from Arab Spring to armed revolt. The journey from peaceful protests to a full-scale civil war is a tragic tale of hope, resistance, and relentless brutality. The Syrian civil war did not erupt overnight. It was a culmination of years of pent-up frustration and anger. Its roots can be traced back to decades of authoritarian rule, social inequality, and simmering discontent. The people of Syria had long endured a regime that stifled dissent and maintained power through fear and oppression. The Arab Spring uprisings of 2011, which swept across the Middle East and North Africa, provided the spark that ignited the tinderbox of frustration in Syria. These uprisings were a beacon of hope for many Syrians, showing that change was possible. In March 2011, inspired by the wave of protests demanding political freedom and economic justice in neighboring countries, Syrians took to the streets. They were driven by a desire for a better future, free from the shackles of oppression. They called for democratic reforms, an end to corruption, and greater political participation. Their demands were simple yet profound, reflecting the universal desire for dignity and justice. However, the Assad regime, accustomed to ruling with an iron fist, responded with brutal force. The government's reaction was swift and merciless. Peaceful demonstrations were met with live ammunition, arbitrary arrests, and widespread human rights abuses. The regime's tactics were designed to instill fear and suppress any form of opposition. The government's heavy-handed tactics, instead of quelling the protests, only fueled the flames of dissent. The more the regime tried to crush the protests, the more determined the people became. As the death toll mounted, what began as a movement for political change morphed into an armed rebellion. The situation escalated rapidly, with both sides becoming increasingly entrenched. The Syrian government's violent crackdown on its own people marked a turning point in the conflict. It was a moment that would change the course of Syrian history forever. It transformed a movement seeking reform into a full-blown civil war, pitting the Assad regime against an increasingly armed and determined opposition. The conflict would go on to devastate the country, leaving a lasting impact on its people and the region. A tangled web key players in the Syrian crisis. The Syrian civil war is not a simple conflict between two opposing sides. It is a complex and multifaceted struggle involving a multitude of actors, each with its own agenda and allegiances. This intricate web of alliances and rivalries has made finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict an elusive goal. On one side of this multi-dimensional chessboard is the Syrian government, led by President Bashar al-Assad. Assad, who inherited the presidency from his father in 2000, has clung to power despite facing years of international pressure and internal rebellion. Arrayed against the Assad regime is a fragmented opposition, comprising a diverse array of groups with varying ideologies and objectives. These range from secular and nationalist groups seeking democratic reforms to Islamist factions with more radical agendas. The Syrian conflict is further complicated by the involvement of external actors, each pursuing its own strategic interests. Regional powers like Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Iran have provided support to different factions within Syria, exacerbating the conflict and hindering efforts to find a negotiated settlement. Care and shelter far exceeds the available resources. The international community, divided on how to address the crisis. As the conflict rages on, the fate of Bashar al-Assad remains uncertain. Will he cling to power, or will he be forced to step down? The future is, well, anything but clear. The international community watches closely. Some nations push for Assad's immediate removal, while others caution against hasty decisions. The world is divided, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Syria faces immense challenges but also potential opportunities. Rebuilding the nation will require a monumental effort, yet it could pave the way for a brighter future. The road ahead is tough, but not impossible. Amidst the political turmoil the humanitarian crisis endures, millions of Syrians remain displaced, struggling to survive. Their plight is a stark reminder of the ongoing suffering. The world must not forget their pain.